Hi everybody. The last couple of months I get a lot of questions asked about stamping, how I should stamp, if there's a problem, what people can do. And for me, of course, it's difficult to explain things when I'm from a distance. So I thought about making a tutorial on how to stamp, at least how I do, that's my dog Lola, how I do it, and maybe it will help you. These stamping polishes that I use are from Born Pretty. I also use Nicole Diary. I've got Beauty Big Bang stamping polishes, and for me those work best. Other questions are, can I stamp with normal nail polish? Yes, you can, but the result won't be as good because normal nail polishes normally don't have as much pigment as stamping polishes. If you got other brands, like I use a lot of Essence, and they are great for your nails, but they don't work as well if you stamp. There are some colors that are highly pigmented, and they you are able to stamp with them. How do you know? Of course, you can just try, but if you put nail polish on your nail and you see that it's not sheer, it's not translucent, then it's a good indication that you can stamp with it. So if you can see through it in one layer, you don't have to try to stamp with it because you won't see it. There are a lot of different brands of stamping plates, and for me it's just a question of preference. There are some brands that I like stamping with because they always work. There are some brands that sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And you can see it yourself. This stamping plate is new. It was sent to me by Beauty Big Bang. And when you get it, you normally receive it in a kind of a cover. It's a paper cover. And if you open it, there's a stamping plate in it. On top of the stamping plate, there is a blue plastic cover. You cannot stamp if you still got the cover on it. So the first thing you do is to remove the cover. You can do it with your nails, but if you love your nails as much as I do, you take a pair of scissors, or you can take a pencil or whatever, and you just remove it. You have to be careful not to scratch the stamping plate, because if you scratch it, it will affect the result of the stamping. So don't do this. The stamping plate, before you use it, you have to clean it at least one time with, I use acetone. You can use pure alcohol, but you have to clean it, otherwise the result won't be as good. And just what I said in the beginning, it's just the way I do it, and for me it works best. But if you find another way that works better for you, please do, because everybody has their own preference. And I'm not a nail technician, I'm just someone who likes to stamp nails. I did it the first time less than a year ago, and it was horrible. It didn't work at all. I tried it several times and I thought, I'm going to give up because it doesn't work. And the mistakes that I made are the things that I'm explaining to you now. And now that I've stamped over a year, it's become very easy to me. And I wanted to explain, practice makes perfect. It's very stupid, and but it does. It's working. If you want to clean the plate, then you have to use acetone, like I said. If you already painted your nails, then you've got a problem, because acetone will affect your nails and your polish. There's something that I use a lot. Is it necessary? No, it's not. It's just handy. Like you see, there's a little grip there that can open and close. You can put a cotton ball in it, and you dip the cotton ball in the acetone. Then you clean it like this. And you will see, you cannot really see residue on the cotton ball, but believe me, there will be kind of the sticky layer lays a kind of a layer on top of the stamping plate, so it's really necessary to do this. I'm going to give a close-up to show you things. This stamping plate, I hope you can see it, yeah, you can see it's deeply etched. And that is very important if you want a great crisp stamp. If I put my nail on it, you see that it's deeply etched. It makes stamping so much easier. So this plate is really great for stamping. I hope you can see it like this. This will be very easy, and then I will show you in a couple of minutes. I got another stamping plate. It's from a brand that doesn't exist anymore. It's from Sissy and Sissy. It's plastic. Most plastic stamping plates have one advantage, because they don't scratch that easily, but they have a disadvantage because you can see it's quite hard to stamp with it because it's not very deeply etched. You see, it's possible, but it takes a lot of practice. So please don't start with these, or you will be very annoyed. There's another brand of stamping plates that has a lot of nice and original stamping images on it, and it's called Nicole Diary. But I just wanted to show you, they have plates that work very well for me, and they have plates that don't work very well because they are not deeply etched. I hope you can see it here. For example, this one. It's so cute, but it's very, very hard to get a crisp image, and you can even feel it when you touch your finger on the plate, because you almost feel nothing. Now, what else? Here's another one that I like a lot, and I just wanted to show you because the etching is so deep that you can almost see it from a distance. So you know, if you cannot stamp with this one, you cannot stamp with anything. These are the best plates to start with. I've shown you the plates with the images, so you can stamp with the images on your nail. That's very cute, but there are also images that are, I like to call them background plates. You just use them as a background of another image that you make. For example, this one, it has no birds or trees or flowers or whatever on it. It's just for the background, and it's the same with this one. So you have to find out what you like most. Normally, I like to combine. I like to combine a lot, so I like to I don't like to stop. I will continue until there's no more naked nail. Last but not least, there are some layered stamping plates available. It's the same. Some don't work at all, at least not for me, and some do work. And what's the advantage? For example, if you see this cute butterfly, you start stamping, and for example, you do it with pink, and you do this in black, and then you do this in white, the accents. So you don't have to put nail polish on your you don't have to pencil it in. You just do it like this, and it saves a lot of time, especially when you have to do 10 nails. So it's easier. There are stamping cards. This one is very flexible. This is one of my favorites. It's really almost very used, and it works. For me, it works the best. Also because I make the tutorials and it's see-through, so you can see what I make. There are small ones, there are big ones. There are also large, thick ones. For example, this one. And you see, it's almost not bendable. This one bends very easy, and this one doesn't. I really don't like using this one very much. The images that I showed you, the small images, for me, the flexible one, the flexible scraper is the best. If you got large images, and I will show you. This is a large image. If you stamp with it and you use a flexible scraper like this one, the risk is that you scrape all the polish out of the opening, and you won't see anything. Now this is obvious. Now this one is even more obvious. It's very, very large. You really need to use a thick non-flexible scraper like this one. And it's very important the way you scrape also. I don't like scraping like this because it really doesn't do anything. I like to scrape like this. So there's an, I think, 20-degree between, how can I show you? It's more like this. If you got the lines, for example, the small lines like this one or even this one, you can use a normal scraper, the flexible one. If you got the big line, yeah, I like to use a big scraper. And there's another thing that's important, that's the stamper and the stamper head. This one, they call it a sticky, do you see? It's just like, it's almost attached to my finger. This one is a sticky stamper and it's quite flexible. You see, if I push it, then it will bounce. It will bounce with my finger. So this one is one of my favorites, and I got several because I make a lot of recordings, and you see the difference. This one is not see-through anymore, and that's because I use it a lot with glitter and with powders, and they scratch on my stamper. And you still can use it, but it's less see-through than the new one. So this is the sticky one. You see, this is less sticky. I've got a firm stamper. That's this one. Does it look different? No, but if you see, it doesn't stick. You see it? For images, for me it's the best because you get crispy images, but it takes time to practice. So if you start, I started with a sticky stamper, and for me that worked best. And now if I've got a plate that doesn't work with anything, like the Nicole Diary I just showed you with very small images, I use this one and it will work. And there's another one that I like to use, and that's this one, and it's Born Pretty, but I think there are a lot of brands that sell it. Yeah, I like because it's bling. I like everything that's bling, and you see it's also firm, but it's less firm than this one. You just have to use it and see what you like most. The most stupid thing is that I bought several from the same brand, but a couple of weeks in between, and you get different products, and one you like and one you don't. So try it out and see what helps and works for you. One last thing that a lot of people write to me, and I think is a misunderstanding. In old tutorials, it's always said that you have to scratch the surface of your stamper, otherwise it won't stamp. And that's BS, at least for these kind of see-through stampers. The old stampers, it was correct, because you couldn't see anything, and they didn't, so it didn't matter if you scratched them with a file or whatever. But with these, if you scratch them, you get this. So you cannot really use it to see through. What you do if you buy one, it's very simple. You can use acetone. I would advise against it because it will give the same effect as this one, so it's not see-through. The best thing you can do is just use warm water and some dishwasher, and the sticky layer will become more sticky, so you can use it. One last thing, I like it when my stamper has a cap on it, because this one from Born Pretty that I like from the exterior very much, because it's bling, it's very pretty, but you cannot use a cap on it because it's not included, and you see it's getting dirty because it was sticky. The dust will be attracted to the stamping head, and so you have to clean it every time. I'm kind of lazy, so I don't like using this one. And another, for me, disadvantage is you can see through a very small piece here, and I like to see more, so that's the reason I use a big one. But just like I said, it's kind of yeah, it's preference. Let's start. If you haven't stamped at all or it didn't work, the best thing you can do is use a regular nail polish, just like this one. Put it on a stamping mat. If you don't have a stamping mat, you can also use a silicone baking mat. It's the same. And just put it on the portion of the nail, or it's just for practice. If you do it, let it dry for a minute. So it's dry but a little bit sticky. You can use your fingers, of course, your nails, but if you haven't started, maybe it's a pity that you just painted your nails and it didn't work. I'm going to use the stamping polish. In this case, it's Born Pretty. I use the black and white from Born Pretty always because I think it's great, but you can use any brand you like. The important thing is you have to work quickly, fast. So I put a small amount of stamping polish on it, normally about half. Then I brush like this, and what I said, you have to work quickly. Now you see, if I put it here on here, it's just what I did, so this works great. Now I will show you what happens if I use normal nail polish. I will see sometimes it doesn't even come off. In this case, it's normal nail polish. It doesn't matter what brand. You put it on. You see, I work just as fast with this one as with the stamping polish. And you see what happens? Nothing. There's only a very small fragment of the stamp on it. You see? If you want to use the stamper again and there's still a small fragment or a small piece of, you see it here, of the stamp on it, just use a lint roller, or in this case sticky tape, and you can clean it. I'm going to show you the image, and I said that I like a lot, but the stamping plate isn't very deeply etched, and it's, for example, this one. It's a giraffe. Yeah, for me it's very fun, but very hard to stamp with. I do the same. I scrape. I use my stamper. And you see, it's quite good, but you see the thing he has in his mouth isn't perfect. And you see that the little dots on the neck of the giraffe aren't very clear also. So you see the difference between this one and this one. And if you try it at home and it doesn't work, don't despair or think that you did something wrong, because sometimes it's just a stamping plate. If you want to create a kind of depth, then it's very easy, because you just overstamp. You don't stamp the same image once, you stamp it twice. In this case, for example, I use the blue. No, I use the green stamping polish. You put it on the image. You know the drill by now. You scrape. You stamp. See better that there's a little bit of stamping polish that I don't need on the nail. And you could stop here. It would be ready. But I told you I want to try stamping the same image twice on to create a kind of depth. Here I use the same image, and I use, for example, white, because white is lighter than the background color I just used, or you can use black as a background and white or a lighter color on the front. You scrape. I got the same, still got a little piece of the flower. I don't want to clean it up from my fingers. Here is my finger, here's the image. You slightly overstamp it, and there's got to be a little piece of the stamping. You have to see it from in the background, otherwise you don't create the 3D effect you want. Sometimes in this case you see the image was bigger than my nail, so it comes, it attaches to my finger. You can just push it down with your finger. You have to remove this, the liquid latex. No cleaning up, that's so great. And you have to put the no smudge top coat on, because if you wash your hands now and you didn't put the top coat on, you would wash everything away. It's very easy to clean up, but that's not the effect we want, because we want to keep it. And this is the end result. And now I want to show you how to do reverse stamping, and it only means that you stamp and you color it in before you attach the decal to your nail. And what you do first is, it's quite a large image, and I like that it looks so fierce. You scrape. Normally I scrape once or twice, and if you scrape more, look how great it looks. If you scrape more, then you scrape almost all of the polish off, and it will dry quicker, and you won't get a crisp image. So once scraping is enough, sometimes twice, but not more than that. It's not necessary. In this case, you can put non-smudge top coat on it. The funny thing is, with me, it smears a lot. So even if it's non-smudge, it still smudges. What I do, I have normal hairspray, like this. It's normal hairspray, and I spray it on the image. And you see, I use it quite a lot. It's not a minimum amount, it's quite a lot. And then I let it dry, so don't use it now, because if you want to color it in now, it will smudge anyway. Let it dry for a couple of minutes. While I wait, I put the liquid latex on my finger, because I don't like to clean up. And it's quite hard if you've got a camera right in front of your face where your fingers are, but this is the intention. I hope you can see it's Joy plus 32, and these images are full. You see, it's complete. I divide it over the plates. This is normal polish. It's from Essence, but it stamps okay. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It stamps okay, but I like the color, and I don't have other stamping polishes and that have this bright orange color. Some bling, because I like bling. Some polish with some glitter on it. It's completely sheer, so it doesn't stamp. It's just for the effect. And then I scrape and scrape and scrape, and you see it's getting mixed. You can see the effect, and it didn't work. You see there are still pieces here that are see-through, so it didn't stick. And don't give up, that happens to me too. So I have to change the thing that I did. I'm going to clean up with the sticky tape and start over again. I think that the glitter polish that I used, and I told you already it's sheer, I think that might be the problem. So I will clean it up again. And I'm going to do again, but slightly different, of course. I'm going to use the orange as a stripe over the heart of the a stamp, and then I will use the green in between. So there will be more orange, I hope, and less space. You see, this one is better. Put it on your nail and attach. I'm going to show you some don'ts now, because yeah, making mistakes is a very good way to practice too. You put the polish on it, and I told you it's stamping polish, so that shouldn't be the problem. And you scrape. And if you don't scrape enough, like this, you're going to stamp. Hold on. This happens. It's smudged. You cannot see what the image is. And this stamper, I told you it's non-sticky because there's all kind of dust on it. What happens if we use that one? Scrape. Oh, no, it's not that bad. The effect would be better. Okay, we waited a long time. I was talking and I said, oh, it's not that bad. And you see what happens. The effect would be better. You see what happens if I stamp. It's dry. And it didn't come off in one piece. So the experiment worked, but not the way I expected it. Primarily, there are pieces of the stamp on it. And there are pieces of the stamp on here. I said you shouldn't scrape too much, you shouldn't wait, you shouldn't scrape too little. If I scrape too much, this is what is going to happen. Scrape. This one is okay. Scrape, 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 scrape. You waited too long because it's dry now. That's not a part of the problem. We are going to wait, and we scrape too much. And you see what happens. The part of the head is missing, and a part of the mouth of the cat is missing too. And this is what's going to happen. Scrape once, that's enough. I'm going to push very hard, you see, with all my strength, and this is what's going to happen. It's smeared. It's not the way it should be. A hard stamper and a kind of bold image is kind of forgiving. I will show you with a softer, more sticky stamper. Scrape once, and you see I'm going to push very hard, and you still see that a piece of the face is missing. And last but not least, I want to show you the direction you scrape to can be important, especially if you've got straight lines. This is a Nicole diary plate, and this one is deeply edged, so this is a great one to show you. You see the lines here go vertically. If I would put the stamping polish here on top, like with any other image, this would happen. You see that, yeah, it didn't follow the lines. You could have prevented that by using more polish, of course, but easier is to follow the direction of the lines. And I want to do it in the way that it should be done. You go like this. And you don't feel as much resistance as I did before. You cannot feel this, but you see this is so much better. The lines are straight. I'm going to put the top coat on it because I want to stamp on this one. I use the same stamping plate. I put the white white stamping polish on it. You know it, you know the drill. Scrape and roll, and it's perfect. I've got some imperfections here, and I will stamp on the imperfections to cover them up. I'm going to do the same again. Polish on it. Scrape. I've got a white spot there on top. I'll probably bump myself. I'm going to cover it up. Because I got a long nail here, I don't like it to be too symmetrical, so I'm going to stamp a little bit on here too. Okay, know the drill by now. Remove the liquid latex. Liquid latex is optional, you don't need it. It's just easy cleanup. But you can use acetone if you want to. You just put some top coat on it to seal it. And I am ready. You cannot see the hairspray I put on it. It's completely dried. I put some non-smear top coat on it, on top of the hairspray, the dried hairspray, and I will let this dry for a couple of minutes too. If you want to color in a stamp, it's called reverse stamping, and you can let your creativity flow. You can do anything you want to with the colors you like to. So I like to do this a lot. For me, this is the best part of stamping. You can use sheer colors like I do now. I've got silver sheer polish. You can use a non-transparent color. You just have to remember that you have to let the colors dry before you put it on your nail. And your nail should be slightly tacky, so use a polish that is still slightly tacky before you put it on. You can also use a base coat or nail transfer for glue on your nail before you put the decal on. But you can color it in, of course, completely, whatever you want, because it's your fantasy. The dog you hear in the background is my Lola. We have rabbits, and Lola likes to bark at the rabbits, and she doesn't understand that the rabbits are not dogs. So she's always trying to convince them to play with her, but the rabbits play in a different way. I'll fast forward now because everything is kind of clear, I think. You can do whatever you want. It's your creativity. You can make everything you want. You can color it in the colors you like, or use different kind of colors. You can color it in using the lines as a guideline. You can do anything you want to. Just let it dry before you put it on your nail. You can do two things now. You can put nail glue on your nail so that the decal will stick to the nail. Another thing people do is put nail polish on the nail to let it dry, or nail polish on the decal. I like to do the first, so I put nail glue on my nail, and the reason is when it's dry, you see that the color is changing from white to transparent, and the advantage is you know when it's ready to put something on. You saw that with the decal in the first step I already put some nail polish or top coat on it, so it's not necessary to do it now. If you do, you have to wait and at least 5 or maybe 10 minutes. And the reason that I don't put top coat on it now, but I use the glue, is because in the I've already made a lot of faults because I didn't wait long enough, and then I smeared the image that I was working on for 20 minutes and I could start over again. So you see now that there's a little bit of white here, but the rest already is dry, and it's just like normal glue, it's kind of sticky, and it's sticky enough to put the decal on. So if I'm going to show you now, this is a decal, and it looks fierce. I like it a lot. I like to turn the stamp from right to left to make sure that everything sticks. And here it is. When it's a large decal, at least larger than your nail, I like to gently rub my finger on the decal to make sure that everything touches my nail. But be gentle because you don't want the decal to break. You can use a wooden stick or any other nail tool. I like to use this nail tool. I use it for my glitters, and I use it for this. It also has a sharp edge on the other side, but it's more like a knife, so I don't use it because I'm really clumsy and I know it for myself, and when I use the sharp edge I know I'm going to cut myself. But that's also a possibility if you are less clumsy than I am. If you got some pieces sticking out, you can use a brush dipped in acetone to clean it up. With light colors it's more easy than with dark colors because you always got a residue. I'm fast forwarding now. But yeah, clean it up because it looks more neat. That's the only thing. You can stop whenever you want. The decal on the back side of the nail isn't attached and you cannot put nail polish on it, so if you put some acetone on the brush and you gently swipe on the side of the nail, you see that it attaches to the nail. So you clean it up and it also automatically attaches. Now you put the last coat of anti-smear top coat on. For me this was the first time that I did a spoken tutorial. Normally I make short tutorials with 1 or 2 minutes, and this one was extended. It was a kind of basic how to stamp tutorial because I got a lot of questions asked. Please subscribe because I'm only getting started here, and I like to do more tutorials for you. If you want to know where I bought the products, you can look in the link below. I'm having a shop on Amazon, and I got a small fee every item that is sold. So please, if you buy there, and you will support me to make more videos. Bye bye. I hope you liked it. Bye bye.